Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another 10-minute investor eye test. This is Sasha with Arcana Ventures. I'm here with my good friend and colleague, Carmelo. And today we are looking at Nillion, humanity's first blind computer, whatever that means. Nillion is a secure computation network that decentralizes trust for high value data in the same way that blockchains decentralize transactions. Carmelo, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Excited to cover this. And I think we just talked about privacy networks with our last podcast interview guest. Yeah, I don't think we've covered any privacy networks yet, any privacy specific blockchains. And that's pretty much all I know about Nillion. I don't even know how to pronounce the name, but that's all I know is it's privacy related.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's Nillion or Nillion, but I think we're going to find out. And the goal remains the same. We take 10 short minutes to dive into this cryptocurrency or blockchain startup to understand what does the digital asset do? What does the token do? And is it something that we invest in? So make sure you stick around until the end where we give our verdicts. But yeah, I love privacy protocols. I think this is some very interesting infrastructure, and it definitely should exist at least within the Web3 or blockchain space because there's some serious applications for it.
Yeah, and I'm tired of covering blockchains, but this feels like something different. So it's exciting that there's actually something that makes it stand apart from the rest of the blockchains we've been covering. And yeah, I'm excited to do. I don't know about you, but I'll be looking for what their actual computer does, their blind computer, so to speak, and
Mm.
how they actually achieve. Because like everybody always says with blockchain, you want to have transparency, but you also want privacy. So what's that happy little middle ground there that we can achieve with Nillion potentially? So that's what I'll be looking for. And obviously, in the 10-minute eye test, for those unfamiliar, we're going to be looking to see what the actual digital asset that we might or might not be investing in does. So yeah, I guess let's dive into it, right?
Yeah, 10 minutes on the books for Nillion starting right. Meow. Okay. And so, funny thing about Nillion, actually, they launched a couple of days ago. And so, we're going to base our analysis on maybe the current valuation, but also what these other investors have entered at. And so, we've done this a couple of times before, but we know that this project is hot and a lot of people are talking about it. But I see right now they're sitting at close to $1 billion in fully diluted valuation, which is kind of wild. $745 million with a $145 million market cap. So this is nothing to laugh at. These are some pretty big numbers.
Yeah, it's not surprising for a blockchain. And the only other thing I know about Nillion is that I've been hearing about it for a few years, and it's like one of those, oh my god, they finally launched. Now we should cover it because I don't know anything about it. I've just been hearing the name constantly. So it looks like they had a CoinList ICO. CoinList doesn't do so many ICOs, so usually they do pretty big projects, ones that have been delayed forever. Uh, yeah, and like it doesn't surprise me that valuation actually. Maybe it's still has room to grow up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. And we see that the ICO sale price was at 40 cents. Right now we're sitting at 74 cents. So almost 2x from that original launch price. And the chart is, well, that is a big candle. But yeah, I guess, you know, that looks pretty consistent, which is good, right? So there's some healthy markets and liquidity behind this. And I do see there's some pretty notable backers here, right? We've got Hashkey, Arthur Hayes as an angel, Hack VC, GSR, Big Brain Holdings, AU21. Haven't seen that name in a while.
Yeah, I thought they changed names. Yeah, and, it's interesting. I don't think we've ever really covered a project that's already launched. Like we see the chart for it right now in real time, and it's maybe a day or two old. And I think one of the things I constantly think about is this new kind of really modest launch for a massive blockchain, especially. Is this the new paradigm? Like we're not going to have like a 3000x Solana necessarily anymore. Like those investors are real happy, but investing in Nillion right now, maybe it's better to have like a really modest, 2.5x launch. And that leaves room for it to constantly go up over time as more people use it instead of this pump and dump charts that we're seeing all the time.
Mm, yeah, absolutely. One thing I noticed, which is maybe funny to point out, is according to CryptoRank, which might be user reported data, they've raised $45 million, and that might be for token and equity. But the fully diluted, I'm sorry, the market cap of the project currently is at 145 million. So those numbers don't look great on paper, but there is a possibility that they had raised against company equity. But let's go ahead and dive into the website. So, boom,
You
we've
brought up a
got.
good point too. I guess we got to look for some mention of a foundation or some sort of entity that would be fundraising with equity, right? Because depending on the level of decentralization, it might not have any other entity that can offer equity. It could just strictly be token, which wouldn't surprise me with some of these blockchains. But I think you and I have mostly seen these decentralized blockchains have some sort of foundation registered elsewhere, just to kind of
Mhm.
safeguard it in the beginning, at least.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's quite common nowadays. So here's the website up. We have the docs page up later to maybe explore the tokenomics. But as you can see here, humanity's first blind computer. Very clean, very sleek. There's some fun characters being used all over and some interesting animations. But I see these initial call to actions. You can explore their documentation or start building. And that's kind of what you want to see for a network or a network token that's being launched. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sleek and professional. I'm glad that they didn't go really not degen with it, and it's a breath of fresh air to see. Yeah, they're focused exactly on developers. Build with us, start here, look at our docs. Um, it's nothing flashy, but I kind of like that about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been talking about this for a while. It says here, decentralized private data will be the backbone of tomorrow's biggest industries. I fully agree with that. I think private data and consumer data, these are, massive assets to hold and to use for business purposes, creating strategies around sales or marketing, etc. So this is very valuable data, right? And ensuring that there might be some sort of like decentralized aspect for redundancy or let's say some transparency for monetization. This is really important. So they're tapping into what is going to be a very promising future market. I just still don't know how it works yet. So we might have to dive deeper into the tech stuff.
I mean, on a surface level, my gut says that they're going to be utilizing like ZK snarks, something ZK related. Just making sure that the right things are proven without having to reveal underlying data to everybody, because some things you want to keep private. I think we mentioned also on one of our spaces a few weeks ago for RWAs. You that's a real estate, for example, is like a notoriously private industry. So you don't want to really necessarily have all that information come to light on who owns which piece of property, but you do want to verify that somebody owns it in the valuation. So there's some things that you want to keep uncovered, some things you want to keep more private. So you'll have the option to do that with a privacy network, I imagine. And
Hmm.
I don't know. I always think about blockchain like privacy for the little guys, and transparency and openness for governments and big corporations. Like, we deserve to see where the money is flowing for these big whales and these huge like MicroStrategy. I think we know every time they buy Bitcoin, but for the little guy, for you and I, for regular retail investors, like, we deserve a little bit more privacy. I think because we're not moving around huge amounts of money. And it looks like they've done a good job to cater to their core audience right here. Like, they spelled it out for you in AI and DPIN, and this is kind of the builders they hope to attract.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I said, there's so many applications where this is going to be useful. And so one question that comes to mind is obviously how are they going to privatize this data? I guess there's some information here on how that might work. But more importantly, are they going to be immutably storing data on the blockchain network, or is it in some external database that's kind of being privatized or masked using their infrastructure? So I see they've got a processing layer. They've got a coordination layer, which might infer that it is some sort of external database. Connectivity layer. So there can be easy porting or access of data by various blockchain infrastructures. That's very important.
Yeah, there
Hmm.
might. I haven't seen mention of it. So one other guess would be they're building like a modular NDK, as they say it. So you can have your own private walled gardens within their greater ecosystem, and you can connect that After you've verified it, you can send it out to the greater network, and they have proof on the network that certain things have been validated. It just, you don't need to know what they are. It's just, that's how ZKs usually work, like confirming yes or no, was this transaction sent. You can have proof of it on the greater. Maybe, I don't know if they've mentioned if this is a layer one or a layer two. I think it's a layer one. Obviously, it sounds like one, but maybe there's like modular layers built within their layer one. That's like the foundational ecosystem that connects everything, all these different walled gardens. Well, I have no idea.
Hmm.
Like I guess the point is, in 10 minutes we have no idea. We cannot possibly figure out exactly how Nillion works in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's a challenge, right? Because this is very complex technical infrastructure, and anyone on the outside looking in, trying to figure out if this is useful for them or useful for someone else, it could accrue value, and it's maybe a good investment opportunity. It's very difficult to kind of break this down. And so you're like we're looking at information being presented on the front web page of this company and trying to figure out how this entire company functions. I think we're getting a pretty good idea. It looks like what's happening within Nillion network is that they're storing data within databases or micro databases off chain. That's happening externally from their blockchain infrastructure. But that data is being encoded or encrypted, and there's some sort of uncoding key that's being decentralized and stored within their node network or their validation network. And so what's happening there is that nodes are decentralizing the access to these information databases, where it's kind of like a two-way street of read and write between the database and applications that are able to access the data through nodes. So that's kind of what I'm reading here. But again, like, this is just some very, very little information on the website to try and figure it out. There's a lot of buzzwords. Looks great. Just hard to figure out exactly what this is in 10 minutes.
Yeah, and like that brings up a good point. Like we got to look for what the token actually does, because you and I are like experts, I guess, on the economics and how to design these living, breathing ecosystems. But you and I are not developers. We're not tech guys, so our limitations here are clear. Like investors, especially retail investors, they're not going to know everything about how this technology works. Yet we still invest in it. So it's important to either find somebody you trust on the technical side that can help you decipher what's actually going on here, or you just blindly trust it. So you and I will go out to some people and get second opinions on the tech, because we don't exactly know how these things work. We've never built our own blockchain, but I guess we can cheat a little bit today and try to find a little bit more about the token, because Nillion deserves a little bit extra time. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I have so many questions, and I see here, ask Nillion AI. Maybe this can give us an idea. What does the Nillion token do? And let's see what this AI spits out. I hope this works, guys. Otherwise, it might be embarrassing for this company. Oh, here we go. This is some good information. Thank you, robot. So it's the native utility token of the network. It is, let's see, a token accrues voting power used to secure the network and decide the active set of validators through a delegated proof of stake mechanism. So we've seen infrastructure like that before. Users can pay in the token to use the coordination layer and make blind computation requests. So the Nillion token is some sort of payment medium or medium of exchange for using the platform services, which it can be good and useful, but depends on how many people are accustomed to using this type of infrastructure. Maybe that's not a huge deal here. Infrastructure providers can join clusters, or they can, yeah, infrastructure providers join clusters to facilitate blind computation, and they're rewarded in tokens for doing so, providing resources and governance. So yeah, like it's a network token, right? There's gas fees, there's gas functionality, it's part of the consensus mechanism with delegated proof of stake. It's used as a payment medium. So, it fits in quite nicely, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you were right about like operating nodes, and also nil holders can delegate their tokens to nodes to support network security. So that's in line with like some of the node systems we've seen, where you can kind of have like a decentralized police force that's monitoring the ecosystem and making sure that no fraudulent or malicious activity is happening, and make sure that transactions are verified. So yeah, it kind of falls in line with everything we would expect from a layer one blockchain token utility. Without knowing more, just from a high level, it all makes sense. We'd have to dig deeper to see like what those governance system looks like, because governance is not so simple. You can't just slap governance on something like a bumper sticker and just be like, "This works." You can vote on stuff. Every governance system is different, and it has different stakeholders and different stakes, even. So that's something I would look into as well. Like, why would I care about accruing governance power with a Nillion token? But yeah, it seems all copacetic to me, about what we expected.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think we've got enough information to run, and we're going to dive into verdicts. But before we do, I'd like to remind all of our viewers, make sure you tap that like button, throw us a follow, stick around if this content interests you, or if you just find us spicy in general and like that. We got some more investor eye tests coming soon. We've got some exciting boom room interviews coming as well. And let's dive into our verdicts. Carmelo, what's your gut feeling on Nillion?
Yeah, I also wanted to say shout out to our community that gave us the idea to do Nillion today. We want to hear from you guys more often, so please drop your suggestions in our community on Twitter, on YouTube, any of our channels, so we can cover, another exciting project next week and the following weeks. And for Nillion, I think this is a rare one that I'm actually excited about. Like I haven't been excited about many things launching recently, as you can see. Probably you can agree with that. But at least this one isn't like it's not jumping on some hype train that like AI agents or something. It's been building for years. It has pretty decent backing. It's doing quite well. It's useful. I don't know if this will be the one to solve the privacy conundrum, but it's as good as bet as any. I haven't seen many other privacy networks out there yet, except for maybe like ZK ecosystem. So yeah, I think the token makes sense. Obviously, I wouldn't just say I'm going to invest in it right now. I'd need more time. Any good investor would say the same. But yeah, I would give it a thumbs up just based off what I see. It makes sense.
Nice.
It's a nice narrative, privacy.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I think you made all great points. I agree with all of these points. I think there's a lot of interesting things here. The thing that excites me is that this is a step in the direction that we've been talking about for a while. The idea of companies launching purpose-driven blockchains. From what I'm seeing from Nillion in their documentation, this blockchain or this network has one sole purpose, and that is decentralized and privatized data storage and retrieval. And I think that's great. That is going to be very important within many industries, like we said, especially if it's powered by blockchain to make it more immutable or reliable or transparent or whatever. But the interesting thing I'm seeing here is there's no mention within the website or the documentation around smart contract functionality or anything to give me an idea that this network is going to be a sort of open network where anyone can launch any other types of digital assets. And so the idea of like Nillion allowing the launch of, let's say, additional tokens or altcoins or stable coins doesn't seem like it's in the books here. And that might be important because it's drawing more value towards the use of the NIL token as a payment medium. So if this is the only real major digital asset on the network, it's used for gas fees, it's used for consensus mechanism for delegated proof of stake. It's used also for the payment for services in using Nillion network in storing data and retrieving data, then that's a great token use case. I like that. The one challenge though, from an economics perspective, Carmelo, that you and I know very well, is that when you have a low liquidity altcoin or a network token on the market, then your payment barriers, like if you were to charge X number of tokens for storing your data, that value compared to, let's say, US dollars or euro can vary. It can go up and can go down. So maybe you're paying with a service for cryptocurrency or currency and value that's fluctuating, and that's difficult to integrate into something like this. But overall, I like it a lot. I'm very interested to dive deeper into the tech and understand how it works with the data privatization and the storage and retrieval. But yeah, thumbs up to Nillion. Best of luck in the coming months and years on what you guys are doing. I hope to see you establish some fantastic partnerships, and we're going to keep a lookout for you guys. To all our viewers, thank you as always for watching. Again, tap that like button, throw us a follow. We're going to be around for some more content coming up real soon. And until then, stay safe, y'all. Take it easy. Ciao.
Ciao.